Today on Cloud Renegade, we're going to talk about should you enable guest access in your Microsoft Teams tenant. Hey y'all, Adam Ball here with Cloud Renegade, and today we're going to talk about something that was kind of triggered by another video I was recording. And I'll put a link up to in the description above or below, wherever, just to that link of the UCOMS update or Microsoft Teams update. But one of the things that we were talking about in that video was how Microsoft was going to start making guest access turned on by default. As a consultant, one of the things that I do is I talk to companies all the time about the security and how to set up Microsoft Teams, and guest access always becomes one of those sticking points for people. And so today I wanted to share with you one of the metaphors that I use when describing why I believe guest access should be turned on in most organizations. I talk to companies from the very small, a couple hundred seats, on up into the 40, 50, 80,000 seat companies. Now, and it's not unusual for those ultra large companies to say, our security says we can't have guests in our network, so therefore we're turning that off. Understand it. Big companies, security is almost always a inhibitor to productivity. You can at me on that one, but it's just what I see. And then even in the small organizations, I hear that commonly because they see the big organizations saying, we're not going to allow guests. And so they kind of try to take on that security mindset from there. And I'm going to try to give you a mindset, or try to change your mind on this with this metaphor. And with this, if you're not married, don't have kids, you may not be able to put this into the same context. But if you're in that realm where you don't have kids, just think back to when you were in high school and how your parents handled you, and you might be able to link this through. Stay with me. I tend to have crazy metaphors. I know that, but stick with me on this. So why I believe guest access should be turned on for most organizations, and I'm sure you can find a reason why you shouldn't. Comment down below. I'd love to hear why you don't believe guests should be turned on. But when I think about it, I think about when you've got teenagers as a parent. You have two choices, right? So first choice is you can let your kids hang out at your house with their friends, and that allows you to kind of see what's going on, get a feel for everything, let them go down to the basement, wherever that may be, but you can kind of keep an eye on them. Like, you're not going to be perfect. They can still talk and whatever. They can still feel privacy, but at the same point in time, you know where they're at, you know what's going on, and you kind of get this great feel for it. The alternative is that you can say, I don't want guests in my house. I'm not ready for it. Maybe I'm just worried that they're going to trash the place, whatever that may be. So I'm going to go ahead and let my kids go out and hang out with their friends at their parents' house. And at that point in time, you have no idea what goes on. You've sent them out into the world. You've sent them over to somebody else's house. You no longer have eyes and ears on what's happening. Guest access in Microsoft Teams is the same way, in that if you bring people in, if you allow your users to have guests come in, you can see what's happening to your data. You can see who's accessing what through audit and through access reviews and everything like that. If you turn off guest access, there is nothing today that prevents your users from going and becoming a guest in somebody else's tenant. So now all of a sudden you can have your users going and being guests in other people's tenants, and you have no eyes on what's going on or what's being said within that. Now, that you can bring that up with Microsoft of whether or not you feel like there are tools that should be there. I agree. We should have tools to know who's been invited as a guest, and if they're a guest in another tenant, that would be awesome. It's not there today, or at least I don't know about it. If you know about a way to handle that, comment below, just to bring us all up to speed, because sharing is caring, right? So this is why I always tell organizations you should really reconsider and think about turning on guest access. Let your users bring people into your tenant, encourage them from a security standpoint to invite guests into your tenant versus going and being a guest in another tenant, because this way you can actually put retention policies, sensitivity labels, things like that into place that will control access to your data, and you can know who has access to your data. If you thought this was valuable, hit a like below or subscribe. Really want to see what you all think about this. Would you turn on guest access in your team's tenant, or have you not? If you haven't, tell me why. So appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next episode.